July 22nd, 2015. Quick heads up, guys. They discovered a new asteroid 2 days ago called 2015 OQ-21. It's a near-Earth object. It's running right in the ecliptic. You see that? It's not diving from above or coming from below. And they say these are the hardest to pick up on radar because you've got a lot of interference right there at that point. Think about it. Now, let's go back a few days. This thing's approaching. They discovered it July the 19th. Right there, you can see where the Earth and the asteroid is. 0.00038 AU is the close approach. Now, that's closer than our moon, by about 30,000 miles. You're looking at about 350,000 miles according to their estimates. They have not been able to determine a full orbit. They only have the model. It's just found it just a couple of days ago again. Now, the moon, you're looking at about 380,000, 383,000 miles average. This one's about 350. But here on the condition code, and you guys, a lot of you know this, you've seen it before, it says 6. This has got 9 numbers in the condition code from 0 to 9. 0 means highly certain. 9 means highly uncertain. So 6 is letting you know that it's uncertain. Now, notice the first orbit was used on the 19th. That's when it was discovered. Now, it's going to cross Earth's path in the Earth mod at the bottom at a 0.002. We'll be past it at that point. So we'll watch that for fireballs, things like that, reports on the American Meteor Association site. But guys, you're looking at Comet Tempel. It's not an asteroid, it's a comet. And it's one of the attempts of man to tamper with God's work. There was a camera on what's called an impactor aboard a satellite that they launched into this thing on July 4th, 2005. They called it Deep Impact, just like the movie. Now, they had 2 cameras, the one on this impactor, right into that crack. Notice where they're launching it into. Right into what we would call the fault zone on this planet. They were trying to break this thing in pieces. Now, they did it on its close approach day to the sun. It comes, the closest it gets is Mars. It doesn't dive in. But notice right here, this is the camera as they were aiming it from the impactor. That's what they called it. Now, one of the things that I disagree with NASA's report, they said it was about 300 kilograms of copper and aluminum, just a metal impactor. But guys, and if you slow this down, then this backs up to the camera that was on the satellite that launched the impactor. There's 2 explosions. This was not a solid copper, aluminum, 300 kilogram object. This had dual explosions in it. You can see both flashes. Now, if you think about this, they said they wanted to blow dust off of a comet. Again, not an asteroid. This thing, you're looking at about 6-kilometer object. Now, why would they do that? Why would they spend $330 million, they said is all, here's your last frame, and rush the job? They completed the whole project and had it launched in 18 months. They built this in Boulder, Colorado at Ball Aerospace, guys. Again, filtered images. Notice the crack. They were trying to break this thing apart. They weren't just trying to knock some dust off of it. It was very well timed and placed. July 4th, they wanted to have their own fireworks show on that day. Guys, never forget the NASA scientists were originally Hitler's V-rocket scientists and his weapons of destruction that were brought over here. Same bunch, same mentality. Now, they'll try to fool you with different images. To the left is before impact, to the right is after impact. Guys, it's the same image. They just fuzzed up the one on the right and made a pitiful attempt where the arrows are as showing an impact point. That was pretty poor. They can do better than that. But we don't have any frames after the second flash. Now, you start out with the nuclear industry trying to destroy God's planet. Satan knows he has but a short time. Then you have Fukushima. You got CERN, and you have things like this. Don't they understand that God's clock and his timing of these planets and comets are a precise mechanism like a Swiss clock. You alter one thing and it throws the entire deal off. Notice here, July 3rd, 2005, as it's approaching, and it's just its closest approach to the sun. It's 0.666 AU. Within a few hours, the impactor launched from Earth strikes this, and it's coming from behind us at this point. So if you were to have a massive scattering, Mars and Earth would be downwind or down trail from the objects. Now, as it goes around each year, if it did break apart, then you're going to have debris spreading out inside the inner solar system. You see what I'm saying? Not only that, each time that it comes from Jupiter and passes by Jupiter, that orbit can be altered. Not only that, at close approach to the sun, we've seen it many times before, the stress from the swing around, because they speed up, remember, can break these things apart. So each orbit, as it comes around, it's under more stress if it has not already been broken apart. But again, the madness of these scientists that's continuing to this day is unbelievable. It reached out, at 2008, it was on its outer orbit near the orbit of Jupiter. At that time, there would have been little effect from Jupiter because it's on the other side of the solar system. Here, it dives back in November 2010. Earth is on the other side of the sun. Notice that, coming in behind Mars. One thing about it, the minimum effect would have been a slight alteration of the orbit with an impact of that velocity with double explosions. They have not changed the model since 2005. We'll take it up to the current date. Now, out on this last outer orbit, you don't realize it, but that's close enough for Jupiter to have some effect that round on Tempel. Now, I haven't played it past that, but I'm sure there's times where they're very close, but they have not changed that orbit at all. Not since the explosions, not since that last outer close encounter with Jupiter. Now, June 16th, 2016, this thing's going to be diving back into what I call the inner solar system, starting with Mars. You see that? Again, if it broke apart, certain parts of that debris will not maintain the same speed. That will spread apart. Remember when ISUN made its close approach to the sun? When it came out the top, it was a V of debris, like an arrow. Same thing, pressure. And especially when you have man trying to blow these things out of the sky. It was not a movie. Notice it was discovered back in 1967. The condition code, they say, is 0, which means highly certain of its orbit. But they have not updated that model. I went through it, has not been updated. Earth modulation, closest approach, and not to the Earth, but to Earth's orbit is a half AU. You see that? That has not changed since the impact either. But guys, we're taking callers on today's Blog Talk show. It starts in just a few minutes at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. on the East, 11 a.m. on the West Coast. Don't miss it. I'll put a link. Heads up. Be safe.